Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. Start off real simple, videos at the bottom. We have now had patch 3.5 for about a week. I only got a few guides out. The dungeons, I released a dungeon run-through of like Baelsar's Wall, but it didn't really seem like it was too necessary. I may still do a Baelsar's Wall and a small hard mode dungeon guide, but I'm not in the immediate rush because it's quite a busy time. Working on those PvP wins, working on, I finished one of my 2 anima weapons, and I'm at, what, 23 out of the 60 wins, and I think 14 of those, no, 17 of those are frontlines wins. So it's been pretty good. I haven't had to PvP too much, maybe 3-4 hours a day, and the wins are coming in at a pretty steady pace. On top of that, this Tuesday we have Kingdom Hearts 2.8. We have the Final Fantasy XV Moogle Chocobo Carnival. I know some of you want Tales of Berseria. We also have the Stormblood pre-orders on Tuesday. So it's going to be a busy week. Don't forget, there's definitely going to be a shortage of content this week. On Thursday, early in the day, I fly out to New Jersey. I'm attending KupoCon on Sunday. It's an unofficial Final Fantasy themed convention that's being held, and it's only one day. It's just the following Sunday. So a week from when I'm recording this, 6 days from when you see it on YouTube. And it's in Newark, New Jersey. So I get to go, I get to see my family, spend some time with some of my friends who I haven't seen in the last year, and then I get to go to the festival. I even have a panel there. Rasef, the lead mod from the Final Fantasy XI, Final Fantasy XIV Reddits, and myself, we're doing a panel on the online games, on 11 and 14, and their communities. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well. It's going to be a busy week for me, but it's going to definitely mean a shortage of content. Probably a few missed streams, like Thursday definitely won't be streamed. Maybe Friday, Saturday. Sunday is unlikely. And then Monday is a maybe, a big maybe. And then Tuesday I should be back to normal when it comes to all that. So expect a shortage of videos, expect a shortage of streams in the coming week, and hopefully you guys are all right with that. But anyway, we got like 26 questions to get through, plus I got to get through Twitch questions, so let's get started. All right, question number 1. Hello, Mr. Happy, and happy 3.5. Happy 3.5 to you, too. I have a question, and I hope you read fully what I'm trying to say. On more than one occasion, I heard you talk against the idea of samurai being a tank. No, here's the thing. I play both sides of the samurai tank DPS thing. We were actually talking about this right before I started recording, because I think samurai will be a tank, but I think that there's a lot of demand for DPS samurai. So I've never spoken outright against it. So I don't know where you've gotten that impression. I've been pro samurai tank pretty much for, God, I made a video about it, a year and a half ago? I've been pro samurai tank ever since then. So I don't know where you got that impression, but I've thought samurai is going to be a tank. All right, next question. Haps. Red here. I almost thought it said read here, like as if I couldn't figure it out myself. All servers down for maintenance, so I thought it would pop in. I bet I can make you turn around and go ahead and give it a shot. No? Darn. Well, my cat's right here, and I can see behind me. I just look in the camera. I don't even have to turn around. Anyway, question time. Every time I watch your Mondays, there's an 8-bit every time I watch your Mondays with Mr. Happy, there's an 8-bit peroxide bottle always catches my eye. What the heck is that? Oh, you're talking about that. So that's not peroxide. That's a beer. That's 8-bit Aleworks. I don't remember where their location is, but if you Google it real quick, it should find. It's a gaming themed brewery, and that was a gift to me that somebody gave to me at FanFest. I drank the whole thing at FanFest, then we brought the empty bottle back. It was fantastic, honestly. If you ever have the opportunity to get something from them, 10 out of 10 would recommend. In addition, it says there's a spoiler warning here. So I'm just going to not have it on screen. I'm going to read it real quick before I do any spoiler warnings or anything like that. Oh, no. If you turned around, I win. No, but seriously, what is that battle? Yeah, that's what it is. I would highly recommend it if you're ever in whatever area 8-bit Aleworks actually. All right, next question. What's the haps? Haps? Oh, I see. You said it twice. Anyway, right to it. Save you time. Bonus on any game coming out in 2017. You're hyped for a question. And 15, do you think after everything is said and done, it'll get to a point where Arnea, Iris, and Cora will be permanent members we can sub in for the entirety of the game? So I'm you can see the cat thinking about getting out. He's been in and out of this room nonstop, so it's his food time in an hour, and he's getting impatient. So you're gonna see the cat sulking back there during this question at the very least. So no, I mean, here's the thing. So they've said they've considered making it so you can make an avatar and play through the whole game with your player-made avatar, as well as using them in the multiplayer. So it's up in the air. It could happen. I think we're gonna mostly see those characters used as the thing is, they've said maybe. The question you're giving me, they said maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. Do I think so? I don't know, maybe. My answer is also maybe. So they've acknowledged that it's something they're thinking of doing. But that there's nothing set in stone. Just like they're thinking of making Luna a playable character in the multiplayer, but that they don't know for certain whether or not they'll have that yet. And they also have a second question. 3.0 to 3.5 ruined raiding for me. I missed the old 2.0, 2.5, where raids reflect that period of time where the difficulty wasn't almost impossible. Honestly, Creator is pretty much the same difficulty as Coil. So if you... It's 3.2 and 3.0 and 3.2 are really rough, but 3.4 Creator is not that bad. It's pretty easy in comparison. And I'm not just saying that because it was beat in 2 days. I'm saying that because I've done all the raid tiers and I can pretty evenly compare them. And 3.4 is the perfect time to get back into raiding, especially A9 and A10 Savage, perfect entry level raid fights. So I don't know. I think you need to try out 3.4 because 3.4 is definitely a lot better. All right, next question. Hey, happy smiley face. Why not thinking emoji? Thinking emoji. Do you think that with the release of swimming that Fisher might get offhand skill of spear? Yeah, I've considered spearfishing to be something that they'd add. I'm okay with the idea. I mean, it's just a new form of gathering, right? We don't know what they're going to do to gathering. I don't think they'll continue the idea of scripts anymore. So spearfishing, I'm down with it. I'm down with it. All right, next question. Hey, Haps, first-time poster, long-time viewer, so I have a bonus of all the Hap coffee to make it through this rough few months of all the games. Listen, I just finished my last cup for the day. By the way, you can't buy this in stores, just let you know. Let's see. My question is one I really haven't heard much about. I'm really curious to see what are everyone's thoughts. What do you think they're going to do with the inventory expansion? How much it will affect the inventory? I mean, they said they're going to increase inventory as much as humanly possible. I mean, that's it. I don't know what they'll do exactly, how much we'll get. They don't even know exactly how much we'll get. They said they might give us some at the beginning of the expansion, some in the following patches, but they don't know yet because they want to make sure that it's stable. So I just think we're going to get probably not double the inventory, but like 50% more inventory in terms of like on-character space is what I'm kind of expecting. All right, next question. Hello. Hi. Short question. Awesome. Will you ever shave again? That's right. Last Mondays with Mr. Happy, I had the beard. Here you go. Yep. Okay, edit. Damn, I saw you shave in the next video. Never mind. Fortunately, I have a backup question. Which hard mode dungeon is the biggest improvement over the normal mode? I'd say, okay, to answer the opposite question, because I'm an idiot like that, I think Google was the least improved dungeon. Great Google Library hard mode. I think the most improved... that's tough, man. I mean, I really liked Amdapor hard and Wanderers hard, but they didn't really improve much over the original. And a lot of the hard mode dungeons are easier than the base dungeons because the base dungeons are pre-max level or at least pre-maximum level range. Cat, please. You look so sad back there, but I know you're okay. Look at him. See? Look at the camera here. There you go. He's looking at the camera now because he definitely sees it. Okay. That's a tough one, man. I actually really liked Samal hard mode. I felt like that was a pretty good improvement. And other than that, you know what, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with the most recent, the Samal hard mode. That's definitely one that I liked. Although I don't like the dungeon itself very much. I think in terms of going from normal to hard mode, it did a pretty damn good job. All right, Cat is no longer here. Next question. Oh my God. Brick of text. This is going to be interesting because there's no TLDR, but I can get kind of an idea. Hello, Mr. Abby. This is my first question. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Funny thing about that. Because it's just, I mean, I don't even know if I'd consider it rambling. It's just like a brick of text. Do you believe the level of difficulty for content is going in the right direction? I think that 3.0 and 3.2, I think 3.2 is probably like my favorite difficulty. Like, I loved Savage Second Coil. It was brutal and I loved it. But in terms of an MMO and a business, it's not smart to develop too much content that's like that. That's just not the majority of the MMO player base. And as much as, you know, the very loud people like, oh, there's no hardcore content, there's a million more people who are completely happy with the level of content. And I'm not going to be selfish and say that I deserve better content than them because I'm hardcore. You know what I mean? So I'm a fan of the idea of what they want to do in the expansion, where we have the difficulty we have now, and then you just, you know, make a third difficulty on the odd numbered patches specifically, because there's always, as someone who does enjoy raiding a lot myself, the odd numbered patches are always, you know, I blow everything out the water in a day, I grind out whatever I need to, and then I just kind of back off. I'm not opposed to having another raid tier in there for the people that, you know, myself and the people I play with. So it seems to be the general idea of where you're going with the question. I think that the 2 difficulty system worked okay because it gave me more free time, but I think that I would like the third tier difficulty just on the odd numbered patches, just to have something a little bit extra to do. And as long as it's not too resource intensive, it doesn't mess everything else up. I'm a fan of that idea. All right, next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. This is Final Sim, and welcome to my question on your channel. Notice I said questions. Oh, I didn't. Good thing you pointed out. Here it goes. One, last week someone asked you the question, are keyboard macros legal or not? My question is, what are keyboard macros? So a lot of gaming keyboards have macros that you could program into the keyboard itself. And you can use them for a multitude of things. Some people use them as like auto clickers, like, you know, to make it, you press a button and it does like a million mouse clicks back to back. Some people do it so that it presses certain buttons in combination. Like you can make a macro to type out a sentence, for example, or to, you know, type or to use certain buttons in a row. So some people, instead of trying to use the in-game macros, which are, you know, deficient in terms of DPS, some people try to use keyboard and mouse macros to do the same thing, but to bypass the usual problems with macros where you have delay. You have the lack of the queuing system that's in the game. And it has some pros, it has some cons. The problem is if at any point you suffer any sort of latency or as your ping bounces back and forth, the macros can get thrown off a little bit. So he was just asking if it's a legal workaround, to which I didn't have a solid answer, though I remembered somebody mentioning that they got in trouble for it. So that was just what the entire answer was. 2, is Zervan Extreme as hard as he said? No, Zervan is incredibly easy. The hardest thing is communicating in that fight, because the mechanics themselves are very easy, but getting everyone to stand in the correct spot is very hard, because most people are trying to do it without voice comms. So luckily with when in my guide I point out the patterns, now it's very easy how much time you have to react to them, both to soar and to the other mechanic. But then also Zeno in his guide, he has a macro literally designed so people can communicate it automatically. People just take responsibility. Tank marks himself, opposite person marks themselves, and then the other two people can take care of it. And it works out really well. It's just a matter of finding the right means of communication, and marks above the head definitely is the quickest way for people to do it if they're going in intentionally to farm Zervan. But he's incredibly easy, mostly because we outgear him, and just because his mechanics, there's nothing innovative about his mechanics. There's nothing interesting like Sophia. There's nothing interesting like Sephiroth. It felt very straightforward and basic. 3, can you please explain to us what light farming is in detail? There's really no point in doing it in detail. I've pretty much given a synopsis of it every time someone's asked, and I've answered it pretty frequently, so I'll make this quick. It's basically when you complete a piece of content, your weapon gathers energy. That's the best way to put it. Ether it's generally just gathering ether, and when you have enough ether, you fill it, and then you go finish the craft. That's all it is. You're just killing, you're just destroying content, and almost any content in the game gives light if you're on those quests, if you're on the quest for the anima or the relic, and every time you kill the last boss, you just get light for whatever objective you're on. It's pretty basic stuff. All right, next question. Heidi ho. Wow, I haven't heard someone say Heidi ho since I was like 11. Anyway, bonus for this week is a nice, yummy, delicious pizza with cheese sticks or cinna sticks or whatever your heart desires. Whatever my heart desires, I think my heart's going to fail after that. A pizza place can reasonably provide. Hopefully you'll be able to answer all my questions. Will you play more Twin Saga? I actually do want to play more Twin Saga. I actually think it was a pretty well put together game that I was really happy to actually work on. Originally, when I did the sponsored video for Twin Saga, here's the thing. If I'm going to do a sponsored video, right? If I'm doing my thoughts on the game, it generally means that I had positive thoughts on the game. If I'm doing a sponsored video and it's a guide or playthrough, it generally just means that I was sponsored and that I didn't want to formulate an opinion, because then I don't want to force a positive opinion, basically, because then you're basically shilling yourself out for the company. And generally, if I'm like neutral on the game or I didn't like it that much, if I'm sponsored, I'll probably just do like a let's play video or something like that. Something that covers the positives, something that covers both sides of the experience, and that way it doesn't seem too bad. But I did like Twin Saga, and I had fun playing it with people, so it is on my to-do list, definitely. 2, how many sequels, spin-offs to 15 do you think they'll do? I don't know about sequels or spin-offs. We know we have the MMO, the phone MMO, the MMMO of 15. And on top of that, we know we have the 4 major DLCs, plus we know that they're patching in some other stuff. It's tough because it's a universe, so the idea of a universe lends it to the idea of sequels, prequels, all that stuff. I think we'll probably see two sequels or spin-offs, and that's not including the phone MMO that's coming out for 15. But it's just a guess. There's nothing to substantiate that at all. What are your future plans for Dream Network? Dream Network, we just exist on Twitch at this point. We're members of it. We talk to one another. We're open to one another, but we don't really do anything super crazy as a network anymore. 4, when will we be able to redeem clouds? Again, probably not. It was something that was experimental that we couldn't come to a consensus on. It probably is not going to be used for anything. 5, what is Aloha doing right now? He's probably bothering Mel for food, because he's supposed to eat About 45 minutes from now, we have a time schedule, but sometimes right before it's about his time to eat, he starts crying because he's just like, no, I'm fat, feed me now, puny human. So yeah, probably all those things. All right, next question. Hey, Hap. Oh, you have no roulette this time. What's going on? I hope you had a nice patch 3.5, patch day for patch 3.5. I played 12 a day before. Myth Tech chaining is sick, as well as 606 RA crit spikes. Dude, I barely remember 12, dude. I just put gambits on and walk away and let the game take care of the rest. Let's see. So this week's question. With the Summoner's DPS having a revive skill, making revive not healer exclusive, should Paladin get the ability to revive? Probably not. The only reason Summoner has it is because it's built into Arcanist, as opposed to being built into Scholar, because they didn't want to make one of Scholar's job-specific skills something that Conjurer had at its base, and then Astro got it because both Summoner, Scholar, and White Mage had it. Technically, Paladins can take Raise as a cross-class skill, they just can't use it mid-combat, and I don't see them really getting that. I'm not opposed to the idea, I just don't see it being a focus when Paladin has other things that you would generally want that isn't Raise. You know, it's not something you're like, oh yeah, let's bring Paladin because we want an extra Raise. You know, that's not why you bring a Summoner, that's not why you bring the Raise. The Raise is there to make up for the deficiency. So yeah, I don't think they'll give them an in-combat Raise, pretty much. All right, next question. Good morning from Detroit, Mr. Happy. I hope you're in a safe part of Detroit. 2 questions. I was an avid Burb farmer and asked about the primal difficulty a couple weeks ago. Just watched Kill Survive. I must say he seems way easier than Sophia. Keep in mind, I was playing with a group of people that I play with pretty consistently. So that does lend to how easy it looked. To be granted, I did find Sophia harder. Just overall. I cleared Sophia. Also, we're over-leveled. We're over-geared for Zervan, so that helps as well. I cleared Sophia, got the bird and Nidhogg. Can't get Thornton or Sephiroth. Any way to get a good party started for Thornton or Sephiroth? Just party finder, burb farm, and then just look for people. I mean, you have the cross-server party finder now, so that should help. Second question is, I thought Zervan was supposed to be as hard. No, they never said he was going to be as hard as A12 Savage. What they said was that because so many people have cleared A12 Savage, they wanted to make Zervan on the harder side, because they know that with all the gear, people would probably clear him pretty quickly. That didn't end up happening. He was just the gear. They couldn't scale him so much so that the gear we had didn't render him trivial. So they never said they wanted him to be as hard. They just acknowledged that because so many people have cleared A12 Savage, they would have liked to have made Zervan on the harder side of things. But they didn't. They obviously would have liked to, but they obviously didn't. So that's all I'm going to say for now. As for that, we're probably not going to see any more primals until 4.0. All right, here we go. Next question. Hey, Mr. Hap, it's been a long time since I've ever asked a question, so here's 80 Umbrites, except I'm taking them back because I need them. Good, because I don't need them. So you just... All right, don't know why you offered them to me in the first place. I have 2 story-related questions. Question 1 has a minor 3.3 spoiler, so I don't know if you worry about that or not. 3.3 spoilers I don't care about, dude. That's so long ago, but you're saying it has a 3.3 spoiler, but you're not saying it doesn't have a 3.5 spoiler. So here's what I'm going to do. For those of you who are new to how we do spoilers here, what I do is I take the question off the screen, right? I'm going to start with a thumbs up. When I thumbs up, it means the spoiler has started. And then I'm going to open this, I'm going to read the question, I'm going to answer it. And then when I'm done with the spoilers, I'll do thumbs up again. So here we go. Spoiler. Okay. Start now. 1, have you ever felt that the way the Warrior of Light is handling cutscenes to be poorly done? A lot of people have complained about this. Me, I personally don't give a shit. As in, does it pull you out of the weight behind the cutscenes when your avatar simply stands there for the duration? The most notorious example for me is when the Warriors of Darkness jumped you in your first encounter, done with the 4 lanes, and you stood there while you get blown up. I said they would take a lot of effort to fully animate your avatar during cutscenes, but I feel more can be done. I mean, yeah, that's been commonly complained about. I personally don't give a shit because as my main character, I actually like watching the story evolve around me and not how my main character plays into it per se. There are characters that are voiced that are more influential than me. I basically am a bystander to everything that's going on, and when they need me to fight shit, I fuck shit up. So it doesn't really bother me all that much. So yeah, I see what you mean by the 3.3 spoiler. Even the 3.1 spoiler here, but it's actually, it's not even a 3.3 spoiler. Yours was actually a 3.1 spoiler, to go back to it, because that scene that you're referring to is when we got Thancred back. And then I see, I don't know if the second one has a spoiler. It's not hidden with a spoiler tag. Do you feel a job quest should have some impact behind the overarching story? For example, the Paladin job quest line, the Machinist job quest line, feels like a lot should have changed after the completion of these quests with no impact at all. You can't really make that because then you end up phasing so many different parts of the game that players just like aren't at the same point. I mean, basically it means that one player's entire world has to be different because they completed the Paladin quest or the Machinist quest, while everyone else, it has to be like phased into a different world where these things didn't happen. And there's too much separation right there. So I don't think it would be a good idea. So I'm gonna, with that, spoilers over, let's move on to the next question. All right, next question. Howdy, 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 Mr. Happy. I don't know why. Had to go with the southern voice. It's probably because it's Cindy. I believe it's customary to give a bonus, so have your choice of any 3.5 minion. You know, to be honest, I don't remember. Estinian, I guess, because Wondrous Tales hates me. I'm a long-time viewer, first-time asker. I've been playing Ninja since it launched at 2.4. I love the job. I love the feel of it. Well enough. However, recently while running the area, I was yelled at for using Doton on large pulls. The tanking question so up and down that no one uses Doton. Okay, so for the first time, I think, in history, I'm going to defend Doton. Doton is only not good on single targets. On large groups of enemies, Doton is good if they will survive the duration of your Doton. You generally end up using, if anything, one single Doton on a large pull, because in theory, everything dies before you can get 2 full duration Dotons off. So you were doing the right thing by Dotoning a large pull. Unless they were dying in under, like, 20 seconds. If they're dying in under 20 seconds, then, yeah, it's off by a little bit of potency. Catan would have been better. But people use Doton. It just has to be in the right scenario. And it sounds like right here, you're using it. And if he's pulling it out of your Doton, then he's just a bad tank. And you need to just understand he is a bad tank. I taught myself how to play Ninja. I never used any guides. That's why I'm having doubts. Just don't use Doton on single targets. There's only a single boss in the entire game where single target Dotons are a DPS increase, and that's A12 Savage. Not even normal mode, because he teleports away. In A12 Savage, he stops time, but the Doton keeps ticking. But it stays on the screen, so it basically extends the duration of the Doton by an extra few ticks, which makes it more efficient than any of your other single target ninjutsu actually would. So any other situation where there's a large pull and they're surviving along, you're right for using Doton. So that tank is just bad. All right, next question. Howdy ho, Mr. What's with people saying howdy? You all must have just played Final Fantasy 15. First off, thanks for your help with my question a couple weeks ago regarding raid DPS. I'm back with another monk question. This time it's related to PvP. I've only just started doing PvP with the Garo event, helping queues be almost instant, but I'm constantly getting destroyed using my regular rotations. Is there a rotation? First of all, there's technically, yeah, there's a rotation, but there's also what's known as a burst combo in PvP, where basically you need as many of your abilities to happen within about a 3 to 4 second time frame. Your idea is to kill someone, stun lock them, and murder them in the time it takes for them to escape either your crowd control or in between their global cooldowns. As a monk, you have some great tools for this. You have an AoE Pacify plus Grease Lightning 3. Shoulder Tackle is a good constant gap closer. You have a lot of off global cooldowns in the form of Elixir Field, Howling Fist, Snap Punch. You have a lot of really, really strong abilities. Of course, you have Forbidden Chakra as well. You have Tornado Kick if you're sure you'll finish somebody off, although it's generally not preferred if you're in an extended engagement because of how long Grease Lightning 3 lasts in PvP. But that's what it's about learning. Make sure you're learning to utilize your PvP skills. And if you didn't know you had PvP skills because you're new to PvP, go to your PvP profile, look at those skills, learn them, and integrate them. Fetter Ward to make sure that you can have as much uptime as possible. Enliven so that way your positional requirements are gone for 15 seconds if you spec into it. A lot of those things are important to use, and I know it takes up more space on the hotbar, but luckily Monk is the least busy hotbar of all the jobs in the game. Also, One Elm Punch is worth putting back on your hotbar specifically for PvP. So there you go. Just remember, you have all those abilities. Yes, Tornado Kick is still okay if you're sure you'll get a kill with it, if you're going to go for the burst, but just make sure that it's going to be part of the kill, because otherwise you end up very sad without those Grease Lightning 3s. Or you could also build up your Grease Lightning 3 naturally, Tornado Kick, Axe Kick, and then you're perfectly fine. But either way, Monk's really good in PvP, so just get a little bit of practice, and make sure you got healers. If you don't got healers by you, don't do crazy shit. That's the other thing I got to say. All right, next question. Hey, Mr. Happy. How you doing? It's been a while. It has been a while. How you doing? No, how you doing? Tell me how you doing. All right? I have a couple quick questions, I promise. A couple of quick, I promise, questions for you. One, did I mishear when Yoshi P said they were going to nerf the 240 Anima Step last Thursday? No, he didn't say he was going to nerf the 240 Anima Step last Thursday. He confirmed on his patch note reading that they were planning on nerfing Ether Oils first and then Umbrights later. So you can expect the Ether Oil nerf potentially to be this Tuesday. And then the 3.55, you probably see Umbright nerfs. 2, do we or you know if the physical collection edition for Stormblood is in limited quantity? I'd imagine it is. I'm pretty sure they said it is at some point. But yeah, I'm expecting. And also, you'll only be able to buy it on the Square Enix store. Could I give a source? I could give you places where it might have been said. For example, the live stream where they talked about pre-orders in the collector's edition, or when they revealed it, Japanese FanFest, NA FanFest. It would be one of those 3 places. So I recall them saying it would be limited, but I don't remember how limited. So I could be wrong. Just try to order it right away. Oh man, there's a lot of text on this one. Question for you, good sir. Next question, by the way. Longtime YouTube and Twitch watcher, not too much of a talker. At this time, asking, obligated to give you a gift as a bonus. My gift is that upstate New York pizza. I don't know. I don't think I'm a pretty big fan of the Brooklyn style or Bronx or one of those. But wings, I'm always down for wings, yo. A couple of questions for you. Background. Now, I played Beta 1.0 and even have my love for Final Fantasies, including 11 and MMOs. I hate systems, didn't play 1.0 due to dislike of the system. Don't worry. The question is, do you think we are going to have the same issues with Steam and Square Enix that we did with Heaven's Word and no physical collector's edition, only Steam upgrades? Absolutely. Steam will, if you started on Steam, I doubt you'll ever be able to buy a physical collector's edition for anything other than putting it on your shelf or for the bonus codes, maybe. Which is why it's probably not worth buying it unless you're planning on getting those physical things and you just want those, and then you'll have to buy it on Steam anyway. Also, you're not going to be able to pre-order until May. That's been confirmed for Stormblood on Steam. So yeah, it's going to be May. It's not last minute, but yeah, it's going to be there. It's not like there's competition for pre-orders on Steam. You know what I mean? Being a bit of an RP style player, I use a lot of emotes, so we're stoked to see the new spectacle emotes. There you go. Did you notice the spectacles emote is different based on race, possibly gender? No, I don't pay attention to this. It's just not, it's not my forte, dude. I have not even touched the Scholasticate quest line. None of it. Not the new stuff, not even the old stuff. I've literally done 0 Scholasticate since it came out. So, no. But thank you for asking your questions this week. All right, next question. Whoa, you took this to a different font. Hello, Mr. Happy. Good day to you. Have a first-time bonus of a stack of priestly omelets. You are a godsend. Let's see. I've been doing Zervin Extreme for the Party Finder, and it would be fun since I usually don't do content right away. To my dismay, it has not been enjoyable due to wipes and people not knowing mechanics, but due to people being rude or shaming others, may have just gotten into content or parties that don't skip sword right away, resulting in someone being kicked. I've been kicked before, or the party disbanding. Does kicking or disbanding help anyone clear or learn faster? No. It doesn't. I will say this, though. There's two sides to this coin. There's the side where it's like, yes, there are people with experience, or at least who have, maybe not a win, but at least have seen certain parts of the fight, who want to clear in a reasonable amount of time, and they have a certain expectation of their other party members. That's fair. It's also fair to say that it's not helping new players learn by constantly kicking them out. And then you tell, oh, new players, just go party with each other. Yeah, you just go party. Have you ever worked at a job where they just send all the fucking people who have no idea how to do their job and say, yeah, you guys just guys all figure it out. You just work together. You're good. You're a team. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, that's not how it works. Generally, the people who know what they're doing need to help teach the people who don't know what they're doing. Otherwise, it gets bad. That's just the bottom line. And yes, people who don't want to watch a guide and then join the Party Finder, I don't find that correct. I feel like if you're trying to get the win on the fight and your concern is winning, that yes, you should educate yourself prior. Pretty much could use the same situation or example I used before. But at the same time, I could understand the desire to get into the content before the guides are made or without a guide, in which case, generally, making a party with your friends is the better idea. There's so many sides to this fucking coin that anybody could play in their favor. And so many different opinions. Me, I'm just going to tell you all the sides because apparently it's not even a coin, it's a fucking cube. I don't know where I was going with that one, but apparently there's so many sides to it I can't even call it a coin. You just have so many different opinions and thoughts on it that people can't say you're right or wrong. Whatever. I do think that the people who have experience should be helping teach people who don't have experience, though, because otherwise you stagnate the number of members of the community who are capable of completing said content. All right, next question. Hello, Mr. Hap Lord. I'm not a lord. Greetings from Behemoth server. I'm sorry. I have a question about the Garo event. I was playing a crap load of PvP, but it just came to me. The way to get the achievement is for the titles is to equip the set, which is level 60, and to get the Protector achievement, you need all the titles. What if you don't have a job at 60, you're not participating in Garo in the first place, because all the level 50 PvP modes, no one plays them. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't even be able to get the PvP in the first place. Think about, yes, you need to be level 60 in order to equip the set, in order to get the title, in order to participate in the event. So yeah, you have to be 60. If you don't have a job at 60, go get to level 60. That's my #1 recommendation. And next question. Hey, Happy, long-time listener, first-time posters, have a nice bonus of Taco Bell for life. Who do I look like, Layla? Oh, well, I could rub it in his face. I won't even use it. Fun fact, it took me a good while to figure out if your bonuses were real or just for good fun. And if they are real, sorry, you get no tacos. It's okay. I wasn't looking forward to them in the first place. As for my questions, I have two. First one is easy. I didn't see it in the notes on Stormblood editions, but will there be a Fantasia included like Heaven's Word? There's no new race, so I doubt there will be a Fantasia. In fact, they've already revealed everything, and there is no Fantasia, so no, there will not be Fantasias. And two, as for my second question, I'm working on my anima, and not much has been nerfed yet, but I still got my 210 weapon. What's the best way to speed the process up to either grinding tomes or make it quicker? Honestly, I wouldn't take the lore grinding step too seriously. Do your Ether Oil quest once a week. You need to complete the 324 mans from A Realm Reborn every week with the quest, the Gift of the Archmagus, and then you get the Ether Oil. In the 5 weeks it takes you to get those 5 Ether Oils, and yes, they are nerfing it, but we don't know how yet. Collect as much lore as you can, begin collecting Umbrites, and over those 5 weeks, if you do it correctly, you might actually have all the Umbrites, but I honestly wouldn't focus on farming tomestones. I would just do all your roulettes every day, do whatever you do that gives tomestones every day, and collect it over time. And then maybe at the end when you want to like stride and finish it off, then you can do it. I think honestly that's probably going to be your best bet. And next one, hey Happy, first time asking, so have yourself a week of testing the new jobs. It's a dangerous thing to promise, my friend. I haven't played in about a year. I made Warrior, but also played Summoner. I'm thinking of returning before the new expansion. I'm struggling with picking a job as I fancy a change. Which job would you say gets overlooked but gameplay rotation is fun? Easy number one is Monk. I love Monk, but Monk is just not in meta right now. You know, it's still a fine job. I've raided with 2 monks for a very long time now, and we completed everything. And those monks are fucking great, but there's no synergy. There's a lack of synergy there. So I'd say that, yeah, I find its gameplay and its rotation fun. Not too overbearing, but at the same time, a good, fun, fast experience. And it gets overlooked because it's just not in meta right now. So yeah, I'll go with Monk. Next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. I hope you're enjoying 3.5. I am. The PvP especially has been exciting. I have a Phoenix before getting all the birds. Good, because I've lost so many bird rolls in the last week or so. Here are my questions. 1, I've been doing some PvP for the event, initially as Paladin because double dipping for Animal Weapon Light. However, after completing the Anima, I'm playing more Machinist. Which PvP abilities do you get for Machinist? Just open your PvP profile and just look. I know Between the Eyes is really, really strong, but I don't PvP as Machinist, so I don't know. Like, Detected and Malmsite are there. Detected is okay for finding ninjas, especially in the Feast, but you generally don't use them too much. Between the Eyes is the only one I really know off the top of my head, actually. It's just been, I just haven't PvP'd as Machinist, so I can't give you a solid answer. But Between the Eyes, really strong. Make it as strong as possible, put points into it. 2, in Zervan Extreme, the DPS mark to skip Sora has been an important thing, especially in the Party Finder. How do you feel about skipping mechanics through DPS as opposed to hard DPS checks? I don't like it. I mean, here's the thing. It feels good to skip mechanics. I think it's a very feel-good thing. But when a fight is brand new and a lot of people's strategy involves around either skip this mechanic or we're disbanding, that's not good. To me, that's not good design. You know what I mean? There's too much reliance on that. And my chat said it a little bit before, and I didn't acknowledge it. I think it was one of my mods, Hammer. They should have made it so that you automatically fall down. Like, he just drops everything at 90%, and you're automatically on to the next phase. Because good luck getting that 15% down to skip Soar if that were to happen. That fight would be... Honestly, Soar is a very easy mechanic, but that would definitely make the fight considerably harder, because it would have been a deeper learning curve right early in the fight, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not a big fan. It just doesn't seem like good design to me. In Winter Season, I've watched the last 2 animes based on MMOs, Chain Chronicle and Grand Blue Fantasy. Do you think we'll see a Final Fantasy XIV anime? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. They're doing everything else, literally everything else for Final Fantasy XIV. I would, at this point, not be surprised if we saw a 14 anime. All right, next question. There's quite a lot of text here. Hello, Mr. Happy. Don't know if you remember me, but some month I remember that name. I wrote you because I was feeling down on myself getting kicked from a raid group. Yes, okay, I remember this. 2 statics later, I clear A12 Savage. Congratulations. The day before 3.5 dropped, and we cleared it the following week as well. Anyway, on to my thoughts. At the moment, I'm not feeling very enthusiastic about Stormblood. I just finished the main story quest. It felt very underwhelming to me. That's unfortunate. I've never been the biggest red mage fan. I suspect it's going to play like black mage, with melee as its ice stance. Well, it doesn't really make too much sense. Like, melee, you're still actively participating, and I don't know. I had a good comparison in my head, and it just slipped my mind. But I'll just continue. If we're only getting 2 jobs and 1 samurai, probably getting 2 DPS. I don't expect that. I really don't expect samurai to be DPS. Plus, I've always enjoyed more unique jobs like Astro, Puppet Master. You're a person after my own heart. Plus, we probably won't get any info on changes to existing jobs till the week the expansion drops. No, April or May. I'm sorry, yeah, April or May, you'll start seeing information about job changes. With Heavensward, I felt like we knew just about everything we were getting, what we were getting into to get hyped with Stormblood. I feel like we know next to nothing story-wise. Are getting to the full Stormblood CG trailer next month, but the rest of the story isn't coming till March. I thought we would at least know the identity of the girl in red. No, the girl in red thing, which by the way we probably do know the identity to. Hint, hint. We knew we weren't getting that till part 2, which we knew we weren't getting till March, and the full trailer. I don't really see much. I don't know. I feel like the story set up very well. I feel like the conflict has been set up literally since 3.1. We've been building towards this conflict for a very, very long time. I don't feel like it's anything new or like we're in the dark. I mean, we know the only thing that's kind of weird is that we haven't met the villain in the game itself yet, the one that's actually going to be the centerpiece. But I mean, we've done plenty to lead us into Alamigo, and it's been a center point for several patches. Even during the Dragon Song War, we were getting little things thrown at us here and there regarding our trip to Alamigo. And then on top of that, I don't know. I feel like I feel like we do know a lot about what's going on over there. We just don't know how it's going to turn out, which is a lot like Heavensward. We knew Dragon Song War. We knew the Dragoons. We knew who the enemies were. We knew who we'd be, with or working against and all that. I don't feel like it's any different. I feel like it's pretty much the same feeling for me going from Stormblood into Heavensward. Or from Heavensward into Stormblood. Alright, next question. Ahoy, Mr. Happy. A good Sunday to you. First time asking in 2017, so I have a full stack of Craftsman Command Materia 5. You. I have a couple of questions, so since you already got many of them this week, I'll only ask one and keep the others for next week. With Zervan 3.5, all Trials Heavensward have been released. I'm sure you did all more. Oh, you want me to list their difficulties from easiest to hardest from when they came out? I feel like Sephiroth was a big hurdle, but Thornton is definitely the hardest when he came out. Bismarck and Ravana are pretty friggin' easy. It's hard for me to even put Zervan under them. But when they first launched and we were like an item level 140, Ravana and Bismarck were pretty tough. Especially if you couldn't skip Swift Liberation by killing Ravana beforehand. So Bismarck definitely bottom along with Zervan, but after that I think all the rest are kind of in the middle. I think it's probably like Bismarck / Zervan as the easiest, then Ravana, then Sophia, then Nidhogg, then Sophia, then Sephiroth, then Thornton was definitely the hardest in a sense. But keep in mind, that's all the 8-man trials. We do have our first ever 24-man trial coming up, and that of Proto Ultima. He's probably going to be about as hard as the bosses in Dunskaith, so it's hard to really judge that, but then he'll be the easiest, most likely. And then from easiest to hardest with current gear, oh god. They're all of them are super easy in the current gear. Even Zervan is a complete joke in the current gear. They're all easy. I can't even rank them. They just fucking all fall over. Thornton, at least you have an entire phase that's like almost strictly a mechanic check. But even then, it's like you could recover from that even if some people fuck it up at the very least. Alright, next question. Yo, long-ish time, whatever that means. First time poster, so as a bonus, have all you can eat voucher for your favorite steak restaurant. Dude, I don't know if I have Gordon Ramsay's steak in Vegas when we went to FanFest. I would pay that much for a steak again, easily. As someone that has a normal job, I've always been interested in the legal side of things for having a YouTube or Twitch. I'm glad you put that in normal, not like you think you're normal and other people aren't normal, but like what the world considers normal. I like that. How taxes are done? Your status as a worker, because I don't know why, but the word I can't. It's just my brain's not working. Probably not the right word. Do you qualify as an independent worker, or are you working for a company, the network you partner with? Not sure how that goes. So obviously I can't go into super specific details, things that are contractual obligations, but taxes are done completely by me. Like I actually have a CPA who does it. I've had a CPA for 2 years. Now I have a new CPA that I'm in California. And basically I go through expenses. I file as independent as independent worker, and I report all the income. I have all my forms, all my whatever forms that I have. I calculate business expenses, and then I pay based on the final difference like a normal business does. And basically a tax return doesn't exist for me. I've already done most of my taxes, or calculated most of my taxes for 2016, thankfully. But I actually kind of enjoy doing my own taxes, like really looking over everything with a magnifying glass, because I got to do things by the book, because I get to remember everything. Like, oh yeah, what was that expenditure? Oh yeah, that's right, when I went to PAX East and we went to this restaurant, oh that's where that thing happened. It's almost like a trip down memory lane, taxes. So it works pretty well for me. And then as a worker, yeah, I mean it's it took a lot of getting used to, because obviously prior to this I had no idea how that worked, but it's gotten easier over the past several years, and I actually look forward to tax season, sort of. I don't look forward to my fucking bank account, but I look forward to the memories of going over what's happened for the last year. All right, next question. Hi, Happy. Since we are a multi-language community, I am not, but you guys are. Maybe this could be an idea for future format. Over the 4 languages, there were minor and huge translation differences. Maybe it could be a good idea to collect and discuss the differences for deeper lore understanding of missing parts. So the thing is, it's really the way characters are conveyed. It's hard to consider. Like, you can't say that a character was designed a certain way. I'd say that the Japanese character, the way the characters, the way that they act and what they say is probably what I'd consider most canon. But they all try to fit them along the same theme. It's just that the wording and the way the languages are spoken, it just makes it come out a little bit different, or it needs to be portrayed a little bit different. I've considered it though, because some translations are very, very telling of something that they wanted to say or do, but that they just couldn't convey properly in the English translation. I've considered doing that before, but I've lost a lot of interest in doing the story. Lore is okay, but doing like legit story overviews and stuff like that, I've lost a lot of interest in, because I'm basically just literally watching a cutscene, watching 3 hours of cutscenes, then talking about those 3 hours of cutscenes in about 5 to 8 minutes, and then I'm always gonna miss something, and I have to be so scrutinous, and it's so time consuming, and I don't enjoy it. I just enjoy watching the story, and that's it. So I probably won't do much more involving the story itself, but you'll hear me occasionally refer to things in the story, or go over what is happening in the story lore, lore related, as opposed to just the story, like me reiterating the story. It's just it's a maybe, but it's not something that's on my radar specifically. All right, next question. Ayo, Mr. Haps. A long-time viewer, first-time poster, coming to you from the Chaos Realm. I play on the EU side. I have a lot of EU people who watch the live stream specifically, so I'm down with the EU crowd. So I have a bonus of an all-you-can-eat cookie buffet with unlimited supply of beverage of your choice. A cookie buffet. Does that actually exist? That's weird. I'm down. You seem to like it when actual questions are bolded. You are an observationist. That is not a thing. You are. My brain stopped working about 5 minutes ago, in case you couldn't tell. That's why it's been a minute. So, thank you for bolding. What tips and tricks would you give someone who has never done any PvP ever? Would you like to get into? Is that PvP gear? I actually made a video for this recently. So some very basic things are: read your chat, for the love of God. If somebody says new spawn north, and you're running to literally the opposite direction, turn around and get with your team. Also, pay attention to where your healers are. Be willing to play healer. I know that that's kind of tough, and healer's very, very... It's intimidating in PvP. So I can understand not wanting to play it, but be willing to switch things up a little bit. And also, just pay attention. Just work with your team. Don't work against your team. Don't overextend. Don't run into the enemy base alone. Just look around you and go like, okay, what is happening? We are sandwiched between both the other teams. I need to back out. Or... oh, I'm fighting here, but the node is on the other side of the map. I shouldn't be here. Don't fight on the roads. Fight for objectives, or push for objectives at the very least. If you are going to fight on the roads, at least make sure you're pushing towards an objective. So those are just a few basic things, and just please read your chat. I got to say it again. Just read your chat. And if nobody's calling anything out, just follow the crowd. And if your team loses, because nobody communicated. Then you have to be the one to communicate. Take charge. When do you predict that the release of the talked about MGP versions of the Garo gear will be? I've been told it's been confirmed that the MGP equivalent of the Garo gear will be in 3.55. That's at the end of February. So if PvP is not your thing, then you got a few more weeks to wait. But anyway, that was the last question on the Dream Network forum. So now I'm going to take a few questions from the Twitch chat, and then we can wrap this thing up, and I can get this rendered and watch me some LCS. Anyway, let's get to the Twitch questions, shall we? So the first one I have is not even capped, because it's honestly, I can understand why it's not capped. When will they add chat back to the feast? I have feasted since the removal of the chat and the introduction of the macros. 8v8 can get away without the chat. It still sucks, but you can at least get away with 8v8 without the chat. But 4v4 is the absolute worst. It's so many people are going to stop feasting 4v4 just because there's no chat. Yes, people have voice comms, and that's a thing, but it's just, it's so bad not having chat in the feast. I understand, like, feelings get hurt. Just go. No, just don't do it because it's not for you. Because it's just it's bad. It's bad. 3.55. All right, I have a question that's a follow-up question from the tax question that I got earlier from the Dream Network forum. So, since you talked about Twitch and taxes, at what point would you say that applies to new streamers just doing it for fun? I'm assuming occasionally accepting tips doesn't need to be reported, but when is it too much to ignore? No, here's the thing. Your tips generally will go through PayPal, and eventually PayPal will start reporting your income. You're better off just playing it normal. Here's the thing. As soon as you start streaming and you start receiving income that is direct tips, by the way, don't call them donations because a donation is implying that it's charitable, and that is not. You do not want to call your tips donations. Don't do that. Call them tips like you're a server or something. Just don't call them donations, please. It's pretty quick. You got to start reporting on those, and you got to treat them like normal. If it helps, if you want to keep track of it and then send the government a check quarterly, which is probably the best way to handle your taxes as a broadcaster in general, is to pay quarterly instead of doing it at the end of the year. And then you still do it at the end of the year like everyone else. It's just you make sure that you've paid taxes, and now you have to factor in what taxes you've paid versus your income in the business and all that stuff. So yeah, you got to do it pretty quick. As soon as you start receiving a lot of income, especially if you're someone who gets a lot of tips. Like I get a lot of tips. I get a lot of cheers. Actually, I don't get a lot of tips anymore. I get a lot of tips, specifically tips. Although I have gotten I'm sorry, cheers. I get a lot of cheers, not necessarily a lot of tips. So it's a little bit easier for me to keep track of as a partner. But yeah, you gotta take care of those quick. Don't fuck around with that. Don't try to play it off. Just take responsibility, take care of it, be proactive with it, and you'll probably end up in a much better spot. I have another PvP related question. Mr. Happy, make one change in Ninja and PvP to make them more fun and viable. I don't even think. So here's the biggest problem with Ninja. Ninja is technically referred to in PvP as a scouting job. Their job is to relay information and to catch people out, with things like Malm Sight and Detect. The problem is nobody plays PvP like that. Generally, yeah, you're not going to leave a ninja to scout the east flank instead of fighting with the rest of the group. You're not going to do that. And then Ninja's too weak on a 1 versus 1. Even if you get a jump and a trick attack on a target, there's a good chance that most targets can still take you out in return without you really standing a chance. So the biggest problem is our PvP skills. Overwhelm is literally shoulder tackle that you have to spend a bunch of AP. Garbage. Ill Wind is fucking amazing. Don't change that shit at all. Enliven is nice, but only because Trick Attack requires the position, and because it's Trick Attack and Duality Aeolian. Compared to like Dragoon, or compared to Monk, which have way more positional dependence on like their consistent DPS. Dragoon, I guess I shouldn't really say too much, because unless you're Blood of the Dragon, or you're going for like a heavy thrust or something, it's not that important. But for Monk especially, Enliven is so much more beneficial to them. But then we have Detect and Malm Sight, which are just such not good abilities taking up PvP slots. Look at Monk. Monk has Axe Kick and Somersault. Like, Axe Kick, if I recall, Axe Kick is instant Grease Lightning 3 and an AoE fucking Pacify. What the fuck is that shit? And it's like a 6-second pacify, if I remember correctly. It's ridiculous. Dragoon also, just way better weapon skills, way more in-combat PvP abilities. What do I have? Recuperate, Enliven, Overwhelm, and Ill Wind. Ill Wind is the best one of them all. And it's nice to have a guaranteed gap closer in Overwhelm, but it just sucks that 2 of our PvP skills have no in-combat efficiency. And if they just gave us something else in place of those, it would be so much better. But they haven't yet. So, fuck it. Alright, I have another question. I think I'll do like 2 more questions after this one. Hey, Mr. Happy, sorry if this has already been talked about. Any plans to do a Dragon Quest count-up leading to the American release of DQ11, the hopeful American release? Probably not. I don't know that I have enough interest in Dragon Quest to pursue playing the 9 prior games, because obviously 10 is an MMO. I do want to play Dragon Quest 8, which just re-released on the 3DS. There's also Dragon Quest 7 on the 3DS, and I think Dragon Quest 9 is probably... I don't remember what platform Dragon Quest 9 is on. But, I mean, I at least have interest in playing 7 and 8 before 11 comes out. And I would like to play 10, but, Japanese MMO. Yeah, obviously PSO2, I could do the same thing you could do with PSO2. I'm just not interested in jumping those hoops, man. I'd rather just, have it work and play it like normal and be able to read it like normal. Localized is the word I'm looking for. So yeah, at least 7 or 8. At least 7 and 8. All right, guys, I'm just going to take this one last question because I realize I've answered a lot of questions today. So, Mr. Happy, going back to our discussion about healers DPSing, this was a discussion we had on the live stream prior. Would you try to change anything in the upcoming expansion so healers are more forced to heal instead of DPS, like change the difficulty of casual content and mind games? So here's the thing. You can... Ultimately, content needs to be harder for healers to DPS less. Like, I guess it's really hard for me to put this into words. DPS healing needs to be more required. That's the bottom line. How do you make healers heal more? Make more healing required. But when you make more healing required, the dependency of your healer in the group goes up tenfold. Right now, healers have that one major responsibility: make sure everyone's alive. But it doesn't take their full attention. So we have to ask the question: can our community handle healers being asked to give healing their full attention? And I'm not just talking about like DPS healers needing to switch back to healing more. I'm talking about the people who already just heal. Because generally, the casual content, even with them, does not require their full attention. It would need to be across the board. Everybody needs to pay attention to more healing, including the people who don't DPS and just heal. But are they ready for that? That's the big question they need to ask. Can we have so much damage in 4-man dungeons, in Palace of the Dead, in wherever, that these healers are constantly throwing out spells? They need to constantly be throwing out cure ones, or they need to be throwing dots on people. They need to be, hots on people. They need to be actively using their cooldowns, but not because they want to, they want to just pop essential dignity when the tank hits 30% HP and DPS the rest of the time, but because they literally need to always worry about their essential dignity cooldown. I don't know that our community in particular can really support that idea as well as some people think it can. I have a feeling we're gonna have even more complaints about the intensity that healers undergo, because it also means the tanks are under more pressure, but the DPS, what do you do to make them under more pressure? More AoEs that they have to dodge? That's pretty much all you're going to be able to do. More mechanics that are DPS dependent. I mean, that's the thing. If you're going to bump up the difficulty of one, you're automatically bumping up the difficulty of everything, because the tanks have to be taking more damage, the raid has to be taking more damage, there has to be more things to dodge, more mechanics to do. There just has to be more in the fight itself. And I don't think that's going to go over very well, specifically with our community, just based on the way people already treat content, and already treat the way that content comes when difficult content comes out. I just don't see it happening. I don't know. I don't think it's going to go over well. But anyway, that's going to be the end of Mondays with Mr. Happy. I hang out with the Twitch stream for a few extra minutes, but on the YouTube side of things, this is where we wrap up. Videos at the bottom, so that way you can check those out. Thank you again for watching this week, and remember, it's going to be a big shortage of content this week because I'm not going to be in California with my usual setup. I'm going to be in New Jersey visiting family and attending KupoCon. So if you're there, hopefully I get to shake your hand. We get to have a little chat. It's only one day, so I don't have a crazy amount of time, but I should still be able to do some of that, hopefully. But anyway, thank you again. I will see all of you fine ladies and gentlemen for the next episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. And until then, take care.